Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse, and today there is a little extra noise in the data center here because I have turned on my BladeCenter. This is a Lenovo / IBM BladeCenter. It's an H center, it's running right there, and I'm saying that this is the Lenovo / IBM because both companies sell this BladeCenter still. This BladeCenter is from back in 2006, so it's 11 years old, but it's still being produced because there are still servers available for it, and I just got a lot of new servers for BladeCenters, so I went in here and turned it on because I think we should just have a nice overview of what can a Lenovo / IBM BladeCenter do for you. So what is the cool thing about a BladeCenter? Well, a BladeCenter is all of the infrastructure of a server put together in a box, so that each server does not have its own power supply, it does not have its own management adapter interface going out, you don't need to put a cable in there, it doesn't have switch ports that you have to plug in. It just makes it a lot easier to have a lot of servers, because the BladeCenter, you connect the BladeCenter once and then everything else configuration wise is in the BladeCenter. It's like having a rack with the switches and the power and everything already connected, and you just pop in servers and you don't have to connect the servers in the back of it, you just pop them in. So let's have a closer look at a BladeCenter. So here is the BladeCenter, and it starts here and it goes down to here. That's an HP server, it's not included in the BladeCenter, but this BladeCenter has room for 1 to 14 blades across this way, and each of these blades are a fully equipped server except for the power and the network cabling and stuff like that, and that's why this is so neat. Each of these servers can be connected to a CD-ROM drive over here. You could put in a CD-ROM and do something with that. You can also put in a USB port down here. If you have your operating system on a USB stick, you can put it in there, and you can kind of just tell it that well, you see it has a CD button here. This one is green. If I want number 6 over here to be able to use the CD, I just press that one, and now it's number 6 over here that is connected to the CD-ROM drive and also the USB stuff. So that is really neat. There's another button which is the monitor, this one. When I press that, I choose which monitor output I want to see on the BladeCenter. So on the back there's a management card, and that has a monitor output, and well, you can see what's on the server that way. Otherwise, down here underneath this plastic, here there is power supplies, and these are big motherfuckers. So we can take one out, it will complain. There, it just lost the power supply. And these are, I think this might be a, let's see the numbers here. That's a 2880 watt power supply. And now I can hear the BladeCenter fans going up in speed, because it knows that something is wrong, and to protect itself it's throttling up. So let's give it this power supply again. There, and it tells me here that the AC is good, and I can put the cover back on here. But there is a lot of more interesting things around the back. People ask me in the comments why I don't use cable management arms. That's because there is no room for it. I would not be able to fit in here if there was cable management arm. But this is the behind of the BladeCenter, and well, it's not very easy filming in here, so I have another one that we could go look at. Here is a better and much more quiet view of a BladeCenter. The BladeCenter has two power intakes, one here and one there, and each of these goes out to 3 phases of power. It's actually 3 times 20 amps on each of these. This is redundant, so it doesn't need to have both of them. If it only has one, it will blow all the fans all the time, so it's just beneficial to power everything. But it's some massive plugs, and it's not recommended to, when you turn on and off the BladeCenter, you're not supposed to break this connection. You're supposed to break the connection at the other end of this cable. So that's a thing. I just had a very big haul of equipment that I picked up in Sweden. If you're a Patreon supporter of mine, you will have seen those videos. But I picked up 2 BladeCenters like this for the price of going on a trip to Sweden. And these are very well equipped. This one has a switch up here. I have never had that before. It has a fiber channel switch here. This is hyper-converged, which means that, well, it blends it up. It has both. It has hyper-converged fiber channel here, and it has 10G connections here. So there is 8 10G connections coming out the back of this switch, and there are 8 fiber optic channels coming out this way. And there's another one at the bottom. So these in itself would have by far made the trip to Sweden good. So those switches are awesome. On the back there is some big fan blowers that you take out like this. This is the fan of the system, and it's very powerful. Each fan has a maximum power usage of about 800 watts. We can just go check one out. I have one here. That's a fan. This is actually a bit bigger than the one I have in my BladeCenter out there, so I might very well exchange the fans out in my BladeCenter out in the Datacenter for this one, because you see it has double. It has fans here, it has fans here, and I read the notes somewhere on it. Oh, where do they hide that? There. Here it uses 850 watts, and it moves 6,500 liters of air every minute. And the ones I have in it, they use just a little bit less power, but they move only half. So this is a very powerful fan. Also, let's just bring this. There are other options for I/O on your BladeCenter. This is a pass-through module, which means that each of these ports goes out to a specific blade server in the BladeCenter. If you see, there's 1 to 14 here, and that means that each of these ports corresponds with 1 blade. There are 1 down here, 2, 1 over here, and 1 over here. So that's a total of 4 ports going into a blade server, which is awesome. But that's a lot of cables. That means that you have to have 14 ports in your switch for each of these, which means that, well, to cable this server you have already used 57 cables, and that's not including the management ports that are over here. These are management modules. There's one here and there's one down here for redundancy. So if one fails, you can switch to the other one and run that one until you get that one fixed or rebooted or what you do with that. But this is not very smart. Well, it can be, but cabling wise, this is a better solution. Here we have a switch, and we could just put that in. This is just a filler. So installing a switch in a Blade server, BladeCenter, is something like this. Okay, apparently there is some kind of a tab in there, which means that this module is probably not supposed to go in there. So that's probably some kind of "you stupid fuck, it has to go in here" method of telling me that. So let's see. Yeah, in there it should be good. So we'll try and exchange that one instead. And yes, it slides in. And instead of 14 ports going up to a switch, this way the switch is inside this module, and I have only 4 uplink ports. So, and these are probably 1 gigabit ports. So I have 4 gigabits uplink from this switch to the switch that I'm using, which very rapidly reduces the number of cables if I'm using these switches. Also, I could be using these switches, which means that with just 1 port here I could have a 10G uplink cable. The management ports over here is where you connect the monitor. So when you press the buttons in front of the BladeCenter, this is the output for the monitor. So you can just connect 1 monitor and you can just press buttons on the front, and it's like having a KVM switch, which is kind of built into the BladeCenter. So you just press the switch and you see the console of that blade. And beneath that it has a network port. It has its own, it's not called an RSA or an IMM adapter, it's called a MM. This stands for management module. The naming conventions on the BladeCenters are different. I just actually realized, if we turn this around, it actually tells you the standard IP number right here, and the standard user ID and standard password for the management adapter. If you get a used BladeCenter like this, there is a little reset button here, and there is a specific code of resetting this. It varies from BladeCenter to BladeCenter. I have a BladeCenter E as well, and this is a BladeCenter H. And to reset this, you find something pokey and you poke that. But if you poke it longer and in a specific order, I think it is, you can totally reset this, and you can reset it back to the defaults here. So that works really well. And there is the redundance management module down here. These BladeCenters are very, very simple inside. All these modules can be taken out. All this, well, could just take this one out maybe. And this is a shutter, but on the inside there is a PCB. We can't really see it this way, but there's a big PCB, and there is a lot of connections on each side. So the BladeCenter itself has almost no parts. There is almost nothing that can break in a BladeCenter like this. All these modules are exchangeable, they are hot pluggable, so you can kind of fix everything on a BladeCenter while it's running. And that's the whole strategy, that you don't want to shut down 14 servers because you lost a power supply. And even one of these fans, one of these can fail and it will still run. It will make a lot of noise. It will run one of these fans full speed, which means 840-50 watts, and it's gonna be like the hairdryer from hell on the back of that. But it's gonna keep the BladeCenters cool. That's kind of the BladeCenter. It has a big management port down here as well. I have never used that for anything, but it has some nice LEDs that tells you what's going on as well. So what do you get in a Blade server? Let's just, I'll just prep my table here. I will pick one of the Blade servers. This is one of the Blade servers. It looks like this. It's a nice case, awesome little form factor that it doesn't take up much space. So let's put it here. On the back of it there is a lot of explanation of what everything is. But it goes like this, and there is a couple of buttons here that you press and you're able to open it up like that. This blade server is an HS21. It has two processors here. It has 4 slots for RAM. It has room for 2 hard drives, and it has a couple of expansion ports for networking. This blade comes automatically with 2 1G external connections. It has a built-in network card on the system board, so you don't have to put any expansion cards in here to have network capability. But you can extend that with more network outputs, fiber channel and all kind of good stuff. Even 10G connections is available. This server, the HS21, is very much equal to the IBM/Lenovo X3650 Model 1. The server is available in 2 sub-models, 2 different system boards. One of them is able to run Xeon 5000, 5100, 5200 and 5300 series. The other system board that is available for this can then also run the 5400 series, which is very much like the Model 1 over here. That is also available in 2 editions, where only one of them is able to run the 5400 series. And nowadays that's really the minimum of processing power that you want to play with in a server. So, well, that's a blade server. When you take out a blade server from the BladeCenter, there is actually a couple of plastic flips in here that pops out. One from the top goes up like this, goes down like this, and one goes up like this. And that's to prevent all the air from going through that little slot. You really want the air to go through the servers and not just through there. There is available these empty fillers that makes the air, it abstracts the air so that you don't get all the airflow going through that server that is missing, which is very important. It's not supposed to take up all the air, so when you're not using a slot, you need to put these in. I don't want to bother putting that all the way in, but well, you put those in when you're not using it. And the BladeCenter has recognized that there is a new blade. It will check it out, and it's blinking very fast until it's done checking. There, it's done recognizing that blade. So now I would be able to power this on, and the power on button is hidden underneath this cap. This is very ingenious because you can find the button. If you're not into servers, you don't know where the fuck to turn this on and off, but if you have servers, you know that you have to do that and power it on like that. Just press that. I'm not gonna do that, I don't need this powered on right now. Also, here is the model number and the serial number, which could also be important. I have a couple of blades here with some yellow stuff on them. I'm guessing very much that that's the BIOS battery. I've had this off for probably close to a year, so some of the batteries might have gone bad. I did check that out on the web interface, and that was the case. I have 2 over here, I have 1 here, and I have 1 here. So when would it be beneficial to use a BladeCenter? If you need more than 6 servers, like regular servers up here, I think that's about where the break-even is. It's a bit more expensive to start with a BladeCenter because you need the BladeCenter and you need some I/O for the BladeCenter, the switches that go in the back. You might also need some power work in your data center to make sure that you have enough power for it. It does not really suck up that much power when it's not doing anything, but it does suck up some amount of power. Just listen to it. It's noisy, and that noise means that it's using power. But if you're looking at going out and shopping for 6, 8, 10 new servers, you might want to look into a BladeCenter. This one is an old one. It's still available, but I would definitely go look at the Lenovo BladeCenter, and that is also both Lenovo and IBM BladeCenter. I haven't got one of those yet. If you have one for me, my contact information is under the About tab. So, well, I hope you enjoyed this look into the Lenovo/IBM BladeCenter, and thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye!